Are there advantages to aging? Yes, I am Debbi-Jo Horton, and welcome to Advantages to Aging. Join my guests and I as we discuss aging and what makes for a healthy lifestyle, which results in a quality life. Thank you for joining me today. Hey, listeners, I am so excited for this episode. I have with me Jenna Minniti from Nutrition in Motion, and we are going to talk about the holidays. I cannot believe that 2021 is nearly over and we are getting ready for those holidays. So welcome, Jenna.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be able to do my first podcast with you.
I'm excited as well. I am excited as well. So as we're starting to come up on the holidays, I thought it would be a great idea to think about, trying to not put on all those excess holiday pounds, but also enjoy the holidays, right? We don't want to go through those holidays and not feel the enjoyment. So how do I follow up on the idea that I want to maintain instead of gain over the holidays? What does that mean?
That is a great question. So, around the holidays, we already have so much pressure on ourselves, whether it's to find the perfect gift or to throw the perfect party or have the perfect outfit for any parties that we're attending. So why would we be putting more pressure on ourselves to try to lose weight during this time when it's already so chaotic? It doesn't make sense. And it's really setting ourselves up for failure. So we really want to avoid having a weight loss goal during the holidays. I know it can be tempting, but just avoid it at all costs and just focus on the fact that, like you said, DJ, it's about enjoying this time of the year. And if we can avoid, like I said, having that weight loss goal, then it's going to really help set us up for success as far as mental health and physical health. So the holidays, this is not a time to start restricting foods. Food is what brings us together, and it gives us a lot of joy. So instead of saying, I can't have that, or I can't eat there, or I can't go to that party because it's going to have a bunch of food that I typically don't eat. What about if you give yourself grace instead, and knowing that you can still enjoy these foods, but just in a smarter way. So you just want to make sure that that you're not setting a weight loss goal during this time. Just focus on the weight that you're at. Give yourself grace and be grateful that you're in this holiday season and that you're around the people that you love. You also want to make sure that thank you. Yes. And then the only other thing that I'll kind of say about that is you want to make sure that you're keeping any sort of movement routine that you have going on. You want to make sure you're keeping that consistent because, there are going to be some extra calories around the holidays. That's just what it is. But that doesn't mean that we have to gain weight. If we're keeping our movement routine going, whether you do yoga or walking or running or weightlifting, whatever you like to do, that's going to help keep those calories at bay. And we know that exercise relieves stress, and we know the holidays are very stressful, right? So yes, we want to make sure that yes, they can be. And just like I said, so try to remember just to keep the movement going and not putting any more pressure on yourself, because we don't need that.
No, we don't. And I know oftentimes we put such unrealistic goals on ourselves. So I like the fact that you're saying don't set any weight loss goals. But would it be safe to say that you could set a goal of maintaining your weight?
Absolutely. I love that idea. So I think that is such a much more realistic goal, saying that I'm not going to try to lose any of this weight right now. I'm just going to be happy where I'm at, and I'm going to eat the foods that I like in a little bit smarter way. And I'm going to keep my movement routine going. And that's how I'm going to maintain.
So thinking about, eating in a smarter way, how can I avoid going overboard at the holiday parties? I know oftentimes that's when they have all those gooey sweets that some of us crave all year round. And it's like the one time you get to let yourself loose and indulge in some of those. But how do we keep ourselves from going overboard?
Yep. And this is something that a lot of my clients struggle with around the holidays. They're really stressed out that, I have this party to go to. How am I going to stay on track? And I always try to bring it back to remind yourself that this is the holiday season and it's about joy. This is such a special time, and especially in the world that we're living in. And, we're not seeing the people that we love as often as we want. So when we get to, we should really be present and cherishing that time rather than stressing about what's going to be at the party. So, to help set yourself up for success, the first and foremost is to just take an inventory of the holiday parties that you have coming up. So that way you're kind of mentally preparing yourself for, this is how many parties I have this season. And that is step number one, just to have that mental picture of how many parties you're going to be going to. And then once you know what party you're going to, what one's coming up, you should definitely plan to bring something that you are comfortable with and that you enjoy. Because at least if you go to the party and let's say it's just, there's all sweets there for some reason. Oh, go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's a perfect idea. I was like, oh my goodness, I never even thought about that. Bring your own deliciousness that you can control how much you're eating. I love that.
Hey, Debbi-Jo here with Neora. Do you need relief from all of the heat? Our YouthFactor powder is packed with superfoods and antioxidants plus an enzyme blend to help your body absorb all of the ingredients. Just pour your daily drink into popsicle molds and freeze. Yum!
Yeah. And let's say, I know this probably doesn't happen super often. Let's say you go to a party and there are just all sweets there and you're panicking, you're like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But at least you have your food that you brought that you can feel comfortable with, and it's going to be satisfying. So what does a satisfying / balance, snack or dish mean? It's going to have all three of the macronutrients. So it's going to have carbs, fats, and protein. So the reason why I'm kind of touching on that is to make sure that your dish is very well-rounded, is because our metabolism works best when all three macronutrients are together. So if we're having, let's say just some protein and fats and no carbs, that's actually going to bog down our metabolism a little bit, because when there's one that's missing, it just doesn't work as effectively as it should be. So that's one of the many reasons to kind of run far away from the idea of the keto diet, because that's really taking away carbs, and our metabolism loves when we have carbs, fats, and protein together. So that is one way to make sure that your dish is balanced, that it has the carbs, fats, and the protein. So for example, maybe bring in like a meat and cheese and veggie plate. That's going to have all of those there. And then of course, you should definitely include some type of dip with that, because who doesn't love dip, right?
Right.
And, if, you get to the party, at least, you have something there that you feel comfortable with. And then once you're at the party, take inventory of the foods before even getting your plate and just starting. Of it can kind of break loose.
Nice. That's great advice.
Look at the options that are there, see what seems worth it, and be like, yes, I definitely want to try that. Definitely want to try that. And then look at what's not. I'm not a big cookie person, but do I love brownies and cheesecake? Absolutely. So if there's cookies there, I'm going to say no to those. But if there's brownies there, I will be heading there, because to me, that's worth it. So want to make sure you're actually enjoying the foods that you're eating and you're not eating any excess, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. So before we wrap up, let me just ask one more question. So what is the number one piece of advice, if we forget everything else that you've said, but there's one thing we hold on to for staying on track during the holidays, what would that be?
So my number one piece of advice is do not skip meals. That is so common for people to do around the holidays, because they want to save their calories for the meal or the party that's coming up. but this causes havoc on our body. There's a hormone that's released called neuropeptide Y. If we go too long without food, that makes us ravenous, have intense cravings, and we could eat a lot of meals throughout the day before we go to the party. We're setting ourselves up for success so that we're not overeating once we get there.
Awesome. That is great advice. I know there is a lot of life to live. This is Debbi-Jo Horton reminding you to use this information to your advantage. Thank you again so much, Jenna, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun.
Do you think one of the biggest advantages to aging is all the knowledge we gain along the way? Me too. What did you learn today? Share with me in my Facebook group with the same name as this podcast, Advantages to Aging. Now hit subscribe so you don't miss all the tips to come in future episodes.